Imagine a drought so absolute that no rain falls for over 200 days. It wiped out nearly 13 million people in a single country. To put this in perspective, that's the modern populations of Beijing and Shanghai combined, entirely erased. This was the Dingwu famine of 1877 to 1878. Across northern and central China, 955 counties were reduced to bare, cracked earth. But what creates an anomaly on this terrifying scale? This map shows the Pacific Ocean during a super El Niño event. Massive pools of abnormally warm water expand from the equator. In 1877, this superheated ocean linked up with the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, a long-term cyclical temperature wave, to create a lethal combination. Together, they acted like a massive atmospheric vacuum cleaner. All the moisture that normally waters the Asian continent was forcefully dragged eastward over the Pacific, leaving China and India completely dry. This mechanism triggered simultaneous devastating droughts in China, Brazil, and India. Worldwide, an estimated 50 million people died. A severe ocean temperature anomaly of this magnitude breaks the global weather engine. It strips away the predictability of the seasons and reduces daily life to a raw fight for baseline survival. The Qing dynasty's traditional disaster relief systems collapsed almost immediately. Granaries sat empty, and transporting food overland became so high that shipping a single sack of grain cost 9 times its value. At the ground level, society disintegrated. Historical journals from missionaries and officials documented the horrors. Starving populations resorted to eating the dead, and parents publicly sold their own children, hoping buyers could at least afford to feed them. With the government completely paralyzed, a different group stepped into the void, a coalition of wealthy merchants from Shanghai. They formed the Xiaozhen Gongsuo, or Relief Bureau. Instead of isolated local almsgiving, they created a structured, professional charity network. They set up 25 donation hubs across the country and published their financial accounts directly in the newspapers for total transparency. They even hired private security to physically escort hundreds of thousands of silver taels deep into the famine zones. This operation transitioned Chinese philanthropy from private acts of kindness into a systematic public operation. When centralized relief systems buckle under extreme climate stress, organized private action can bridge the gap and save lives that would otherwise be lost. Today, the El Niño cycle is returning, and the baseline heat of our oceans is significantly higher. This chart compares the ocean temperature anomalies of 1877 with predictive models for 2026 and 2027. We are facing a double whammy scenario where Super El Niño merges with a positive Indian Ocean Dipole, a state where the western Indian Ocean gets unusually warm while the east cools. For modern Asia, this combination brings a high risk of record-breaking heat waves and severe agricultural droughts and vast plumes of toxic transboundary haze drifting across borders from massive peat and forest fires. The same pattern of moisture displacement that drove the 1877 crisis is currently a primary focus of modern climate forecasting. To navigate it, modern families should look to the organized, self-reliant approach used by those 19th century merchants. First, audit your water. Inspect your household irrigation and plumbing systems, and stockpile emergency drinking water long before the local reservoirs run dry. Next, secure your air. Once the regional wildfires start, you will need high-grade N95 respirators and indoor air purifiers to protect your lungs from hazardous particulate matter. In agriculture, dry spells create a biological lag, meaning even after rain returns, crop yields can remain depressed for years. Build a stockpile of non-perishable staples right now before systemic shortages trigger extreme food inflation. Finally, plan for extreme heat. Establish cooling strategies and invest in backup power, and locate local cooling centers to protect elderly and vulnerable family members from dangerous temperature spikes. The victims of the Dingwu famine had no warning. We have satellite arrays and advanced climate modeling telling us exactly what the ocean is doing. Respecting nature's power and preparing on an organizational level is what shifts the odds from a catastrophic loss toward a story of resilience.